He was a legendary French military general who became a self-proclaimed emperor and one of the most influential figures in European history, standing about 5 feet 6 inches tall. Perhaps that was why he was nicknamed the Little Corporal. Yet, despite his relatively small stature, his towering ambition and military genius echoed across Europe for over 2 centuries. He revolutionized military organization, reshaped European politics, and forever altered the art of warfare. And his name is Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte, later known by his imperial title Napoleon I, was born on August 15, 1769, on the island of Corsica, which had recently become part of France. His parents, Carlo Bonaparte and Letizia Ramolino, were of Italian origin. His father's family descended from an Italian noble family that had emigrated to Corsica in the 16th century. Napoleon was the second of 8 children, with 1 older brother and 6 younger siblings. Thanks to his father's political connections, particularly with the French governor Charles-Louis de Marbeuf, Napoleon earned the rare opportunity to study in mainland France. At the age of 9, he was sent to military school at Brienne-le-Château after a brief education at Autumn. He spent 5 formative years at Brienne and then completed his military training at the elite École Militaire in Paris, where he spent a year. Tragedy struck in 1785 when Napoleon's father died of stomach cancer. Later that same year, Napoleon graduated from the military academy, ranking 42nd out of 58 students. Though not the most distinguished cadet on paper, but destiny had far greater plans for him. That same year, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the artillery regiment. Napoleon continued his studies with a keen interest in mathematics, military tactics, strategic studies, and history. He was an avid reader, deeply inspired by classical and Enlightenment thinkers. His intellect and ambition quickly set him apart. During the French Revolution, Napoleon's military career skyrocketed. He was promoted to first lieutenant, then captain, earning each advancement through battlefield success. In 1793, at just 24 years old, he recaptured Toulon from the British forces, earning him a promotion to brigadier general. In 1795, Napoleon helped suppress royalist uprisings in Paris, saving the French Republic and earning political admiration. He was appointed second in command of the Army of the Interior. By 1796, he was named Commander-in-Chief of the Army of Italy. That same year, he married Josephine de Beauharnais, a charming widow with political connections. Though the marriage was later annulled, it helped bolster his early social standing. He would later marry Marie-Louise of Austria, linking himself to European royalty. As a military leader, Napoleon proved brilliant and fearless. He defeated Austrian forces and conquered much of northern Italy. In 1798, he launched a military expedition to Egypt to disrupt British trade routes to India and expand French influence in the Middle East. Although he secured early victories, but the British Navy, led by Admiral Horatio Nelson, destroyed his fleet at the Battle of the Nile, stranding Napoleon's army. The campaign deteriorated due to disease, poor logistics, and local resistance. In 1799, he abandoned his forces and secretly returned to France. Back home, France was in crisis. A new anti-French alliance had formed between Britain, Austria, Russia, and the Ottoman Empire. This alliance became known as the Second Coalition. Political unrest spread, and the government, the Directory, was increasingly seen as corrupt and weak. Sensing an opportunity, Napoleon orchestrated a coup d'état on November 9, 1799. He dissolved the Directory, established the consulate, and became the first consul of France, automatically its ruler. He later cemented his power with the Constitution of Year VIII, which gave him near total authority while preserving some revolutionary ideals. As ruler, Napoleon enacted sweeping reforms. He centralized administration, stabilized the economy with the Banque de France, introduced a national education system, and signed the Concordat of 1801 with the Catholic Church, restoring some religious peace. His greatest legal legacy was the Napoleonic Code, 1804, a unified civil code that guaranteed civil liberties, secular governance, and legal equality, though it reinforced patriarchal authority and favored employers. These laws would influence legal systems across Europe and beyond. Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of the French in 1804, rejecting the Pope's authority during the ceremony to show he owed his power to no one. He led France through years of military victories and territorial expansion, creating a vast empire that stretched across much of continental Europe. However, his ambition eventually led to overreach. By 1813, after a disastrous invasion of Russia and mounting losses, the Frankfurt Proposals were offered by the Allies. Napoleon could remain emperor but must retreat France to its natural frontiers. He refused. The Allies invaded in January 1814, and after a series of defeats, Paris fell. On April 6, 1814, under pressure from his marshals, Napoleon abdicated unconditionally. He was exiled to the island of Elba, but escaped less than a year later. In what became known as the 100 Days, he returned to power only to be decisively defeated at the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815. He abdicated again, this time in favor of his son, and fled Paris, attempting to escape to America. But British ships blocked him, and he surrendered on July 15, 1815, to Captain Frederick Maitland aboard HMS Bellerophon. Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of Saint Helena in the South Atlantic, thousands of miles from Europe. He arrived in October 1815 with 27 loyal companions aboard HMS Northumberland. There, he was confined under strict supervision by Governor Hudson Lowe. Napoleon initially lived in a small pavilion at the Briars, then moved to the poorly constructed Longwood House, which was damp, wind-blown, and rat-infested. Despite the harsh conditions, Napoleon maintained imperial rituals, held formal dinners, received guests, and dictated his memoirs and military commentaries. He studied English under Emmanuel de las Cases, but gave up due to difficulty with languages. Napoleon also wrote letters describing his poor treatment, hoping to sway public opinion, though his complaints stirred controversy in the British Parliament, but no action was taken to improve his situation. On May 5, 1821, after years of illness, likely due to stomach ulcer or cancer, Napoleon Bonaparte died at the age of 51. Some believe he died from poisoning, but that theory is not conclusively supported by many scholars and historians. He was buried on Saint Helena, though his remains were returned to France in 1840 and reinterred with honor at Les Invalides in Paris. His life remains one of history's most fascinating tales, a complex legacy of reform, conquest, ambition, and downfall. Though seen by some as a tyrant and others as a visionary, his sheer will, brilliance, and ambition left a legacy far beyond conquest. He seized the chaos of the French Revolution and forged an empire out of it, redefining leadership and the balance of power across Europe. Even his failures, like the disastrous Russian campaign and final defeat at Waterloo, showed that no human is invincible. Exiled to a distant island and stripped of his throne, even though Napoleon died far from the empire he built. Yet history does not remember him as a fallen general. It remembers him as an enduring symbol of power, intellect, and destiny. He was not merely a ruler of men, but an architect of modern history. His name is engraved forever into the soul of Europe. Did you enjoy the story of Napoleon? Well, there's more where that came from. Hit the like button and subscribe for more epic historical events and legendary figures.